Hello, dear students. How is it, everybody? I hope everybody is doing well. So, today I welcome you all in this session. This is lecture number 6 of carbon and its compound. So, let's begin this class without wasting our time. Okay, dear students. So, here we are. Here we will talk about the nomenclature of carbon compounds. So, basically, let's suppose we are taking C2H5OH. C2H5OH. The name of this compound is ethanol. Now, why we are calling it ethanol? Because you can see that there are two carbons atom present in this compound. So for two carbon we use eth. Okay. Now you can also see that this OH is added in this compound. So that's why we are using all, okay, in suffix. So basically, thus the name of this compound is ethanol. The same way, we can also give name to this compound. You can see that one carbon is present here. So for one carbon, we will write meth, okay, and you can also see that OH group is added here. This is basically a functional group. So for this, we use all. So this will become methanol. I hope you get my point. Now, I will tell you that how do we identify the name of the compound. Okay, how we give name to the compounds. So, the first step comes here is that you have to identify the number of carbon atoms in the compound. Okay, let us suppose that if there are 3 carbon compounds present, so we will use propane. We will use what? Propane. Let's suppose C3H8. So this is basically what? This is propane, and you can see that 3 carbon is present here and only single bond is here. So that's why we have given it a name of propane. I hope this point is clear to you. Now, after identifying the number of carbons, we will jump to the next step. So what is the next step now? Let us see what is the next step. So to understand the next step, we have to go to the next slide. Okay, students, so here we are. So the next step is, in case a functional group is present, it is indicated in the name of the compound with either a prefix or a suffix. So basically there are different type of functional group. So if functional group is present there, so what we will do, we will basically use the name of functional group either as a prefix or a suffix. Okay, if I give you an example, so this will be more clear to you. So basically, let's suppose that, let us take example of CH3OH, which we have discussed earlier. So as you can see that only one carbon is present, so we will use methane. Okay, now what we will do, basically the suffix used for this OH here is all. Okay, the suffix here is all. So what will I do? Basically I will simply, basically this is methane, okay, like this. So I will simply remove this E and I will add all here. So this will become methanol. nol. Okay, I hope this point is clear to you. So if the name of the functional group is to be given as a suffix and the suffix of the functional group begins with a vowel A, E, I, O, U, then the name of the carbon chain is modified by deleting the final E and adding the appropriate suffix. So basically here it shows that, for an example, let's suppose that, let me take an example, C3H6O. Okay, so basically this is our compound and we have to give it a name. So as you can see, 3 carbon atom is present here, so we will call it propane. Okay, now this O is a functional group and the suffix we use here is on. The suffix we use here is on. Okay, so basically what we will do, I will add this on after the propane. So first of all we will remove this E and we will simply add this on here, so it will become propanol. The name of this compound is propanol. If I show you the structure of this compound, so you can see that C, then again C, then again C, because 3 carbon atoms are present here. Now what will I do? First of all I will add this oxygen here, then I will fill up the remaining valencies like this. So as you can see, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so we have done something wrong. Okay, so basically here you can see that we have added one more hydrogen here like this. So first of all we have to remove it. I hope you get it that why did I remove it? Because when I add extra hydrogen, so the valency of carbon becomes 5, because 2 carbon shares 2 electrons with oxygen and then 2 other electrons with carbon and another with this carbon. But if I add another hydrogen, so it shows that carbon has 5 valencies, which is not possible. Carbon is tetravalent. We all know that carbon can only share 4 electrons. So that's why when I add the one extra hydrogen, so that's not possible. So I remove that hydrogen. I hope you get my point. So as you can see that, what are the number of hydrogen? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you can see C3H6 and 1 oxygen. Basically this is the ketone group, and for this group we use suffix on. I hope guys this point is clear to you. Now guys, after understanding this, let us move on to the next slide and let us talk about one more point, and the point number 4. So if the carbon chain is unsaturated, then the final N in the name of the carbon chain is substituted by "-ine" or "-ine". So basically here we need to know that what is the meaning of this unsaturated carbon chain. Okay, otherwise we will not be able to, if we don't understand the meaning of this, then how we will be able to give name to the carbon compounds. So basically let's suppose that I'm taking the example of this carbon. Okay, so we are taking the example of ethane. So guys, as you can see that the structure for ethane is like this. Okay, and the formula of ethane is C2H6. So as you can see that only single bond is present in this molecule. So if the single bond is present in all the molecule, so that's why it is saturated compound. It is saturated carbon chain. But if I draw another structure, let's suppose this. Okay, now guys, if you count the number of carbon, so that is 2, Okay, if you count the number of hydrogen, that is for C2H4. So basically here you can see that there is the presence of a double bond. So if double bond is present, so that's why now it is not a saturated carbon chain. It becomes unsaturated carbon chain because there is a presence of a double bond. Okay, so that's why what will happen, this is an unsaturated carbon chain, so that's why I will give it a name ethene. Okay, instead of ethane, this is ethene. Why? Because of the presence of this double bond, I have removed this N, and in the place of this N I have added ene. I replaced this N with ene, so that's why it has become ethene. Similarly, let us take another example. Let's suppose this. So this is another structure. So guys, as you can see that the number of carbon is 2, but the number of hydrogen is also 2. So I will use ethane, and instead of N I will use ine. Why? Because as you can see, this is unsaturated carbon chain and one triple bond is present between these two carbons. So because of the presence of triple bond, we have used this YNE instead of ANE. Instead of N, we use ine. So this will be called ethyne. This will be called ethene, and this is ethane. So I hope you might have been able to understand the difference between ethane, ethene and ethyne. Ethane is a saturated carbon chain without any double or single bond, but ethene is a unsaturated carbon chain because of the presence of a double bond. Similarly, ethyne, you can see that in ethyne as well there is a triple bond, so that's why it is ethyne. Similarly guys, let us see some of the functional group. So basically haloalkanes, let us start with haloalkane. So if haloalkane, if you see haloalkane in a carbon chain, so you will use this prefix. Let's suppose if chlorine is there, so we will use chloro. If bromine is there, then we will use bromo. You can also see the structure of these compounds. As you can see that, as you can see that one chlorine is here. So that's why what we will do, we will use chloro as a prefix. So this will become chloropropane. Similarly, if bromine replaces one hydrogen, so it will become bromopropane. And similarly, we have seen the alcohol group, aldehyde group. This is aldehyde group. For aldehydes, we use this suffix L. For ketone, we use the suffix on. For carboxylic acid, we use oic acid. For alkenes, we use ene. And for alkynes, we use ine. So I hope this is clear to you. So let us move on to the next slide. And before going to the next slide, I want to let you know once more that why we are using these suffix, because of the presence of these functional groups. You can see OH, this is a functional group. Okay, and for this OH we use the suffix ol. And as you can see that this is what? This is again a functional group, and this is basically, if you see a functional group like this, so you will use a suffix L. Similarly for ketone, you can see this is another functional group, and for ketone we use the suffix on. And again you can see that oic acid, this is another functional group, and we use oic acid as a suffix. Similarly alkene and alkynes. I hope this is clear to you. So let us move on to the next slide now. Okay students, so here we are, and here we will be discussing some of the example so that a concept will get more clear. So basically the very first example, let's talk about this, that how many structural isomers can you draw for pentane. Okay, so first of all, we should know how to write this pentane or how to draw the structure of this pentane. So you can see that here pent is coming. It means this is a prefix, and you can see that by this prefix we can understand that there is a presence of 5 carbon. Okay, 5 carbon is present. Now this N is coming, it means it is saturated. It is saturated, it means there is only single bond. Now if I draw the structure for this, so this carbon and then this carbon, then this carbon, then this carbon, then this carbon, and I will satisfy all the valencies like this hydrogen here, then this hydrogen, then this hydrogen, and then this, and then this hydrogen and this hydrogen. So you can see 1 2 3 4 5, it means 5 carbon is there, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, and 12 hydrogen is here. And you can also check it by this general formula for the alkanes, that here if you write N is equals to 5, then it will give you C5H12. Okay, if you don't know how did I write it, so you can again see the previous lectures. I have talked about this general formula many times, that how do we write general formula for alkane, alkenes and alkyne. Now guys, this is the structure of pentane. Now I have to draw the structure isomer for this. So this is the first structure. Now let's talk about the second possibility. So guys, the second possibility would be like this. Okay, this can be also possible. Now if I again satisfy the valencies, so it will become like this. Okay guys, I hope you all know that how I am filling these valencies. Now you can see that here also 1 2 3 4 5 carbon is present, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10 11 12. So it means 12 hydrogen is present. So here molecular formula is C5H12, and here also you can see that the molecular formula is C5H12. Okay, this 5 will come a little bit more on right side, C5H12. So here you can see that molecular formula is same but structure is different, and that is our isomer. On the previous lecture I told you what is isomer. So basically isomer are the compounds which have the same molecular formula but different structure. So this is the second possibility of this pentane. Now let's figure out if there is other possibility as well. So guys, we can also draw the structure of this. Let me erase this here and draw the structure. Okay, so basically guys, this is carbon and this is also another carbon, and now what can I do? I can attach one carbon here. So now if I satisfy the valencies, then it will be looking like this. Okay guys, so this is again the structure of C5H12, and you can also count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So this is again C5H12, and these are three possible structure isomer of pentane. This is first, this is second, and this is third. Here in these three cases you can observe that the molecular formula is C5H12, but the structure is different. So I hope guys the answer of this question is clear to you. You might have been able to understand that how did I draw the structure of these pentane isomer. Now guys, if it is clear to you, so now let's talk about the second question, and the second question is draw the structure for the following compound. So here are some compounds given. First one is ethanoic acid, bromopentane, butanol and hexanol. So we will draw the structure of these compounds, and by drawing these structures, the concept which we have seen on the previous slide, or you can say naming the carbon compounds, will be clear to you and you will become master on this. So the first question here is ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid. Now I want to draw the structure of this. So first of all, we will identify that how many carbon atoms are present. So as you can see, Eth is here. So this means that there are 2 carbon atoms. Okay. Now for oic acid, what we will do, we will add the functional group, and that is carboxylic acid. So like this. Now we will fill the remaining valencies. So as you can see, these are the remaining valencies. Now guys, you can see that this is the structure for ethanoic acid. You can see that every valency of carbon is filled. So that is how we got this structure of ethanoic acid. This is as simple. Now guys, let us solve the second question, and that is bromopentane. Bromopentane, we have to map its structure. So basically guys, to draw this structure, I will simply map the pentane. So this is what? This is pentane. Now I will fill all the valencies like this by single bond only, because I am drawing the structure of the pentane. Okay. Now what is the formula for pentane? C5H12. You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 hydrogen and 5 carbon atoms are here. So what will happen? This hydrogen, one of the hydrogen, will be replaced by the bromine. That's why it is become bromopentane. Okay. So basically this hydrogen on this side is replaced by the bromine, and we all know that bromine is added as a suffix. As you can see here, you can see that for haloalkanes we use prefix. I'm really sorry, I was talking about prefix. So we use prefix bromo for this, so this will become bromopentane. I hope it's clear to you. Okay. So now guys, what will happen? This is the structure of bromopentane. Now let us talk about the other question. Now we have to draw the structure of butanone. Okay, butanone. Okay guys, so basically for butanone, we all know that we can understand by this but that there are 4 carbon atoms. So I will simply make this chain where 4 carbon atoms are present. Now what will I do? I will add this ketone, because this on comes for the ketone group, ketone functional group. So I am adding one oxygen of on this carbon. Now I will fill up the remaining valencies like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and here also. Okay guys, so now you can see that this is the structure for butanol. So how many carbon atoms are present? 4. And how many hydrogens are present here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 hydrogens are here and 1 oxygen. So I hope guys this point is clear to you. Now let us talk about the other question number 4, and that is, so guys, now I have to draw the structure for hexanel. So what is hexanel? Basically, you all know that hex word is coming. So that means that there should be 6 carbon present in this chain. So we have made all 6 carbons. Now let me change the pen. Okay. Now this L is coming. So this L comes for the aldehyde group like this. You can see that this L comes for aldehyde. So what we do, first of all, I will add one hydrogen here and one oxygen like this. Okay, now I will fill up the remaining valencies. So as you can see, like this. Okay, so now you can check that all the valencies are completed. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and this valency of this last carbon is also filled 1 2 3 and 4, because it is sharing 2 electrons with oxygen and another 2 electrons, one with hydrogen and one with other carbon atom. So basically there are number of carbon is 5. Sorry, number of carbon here is basically 6. Okay, so let me erase it. Okay, so C6, and then what are the number of hydrogen? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So 12 and 1 O. So I hope guys this thing is clear to you, that what is the structure for hexanal. So if it is clear to you, now let's move on to the next slide. And before moving ahead, one more thing I want to let you know, that this hexanal can also be written like this: C5H11 and CHO. Okay, because this is what? This is CHO. So we have written 5 carbon atoms here, 11 hydrogen here, and then 1 CHO. So I hope this point is clear to you. Now let us move on to the next slide. Right. And guys, let's talk about the last example of this class, and that is, how would you name the following compounds? Okay, so I hope guys, after solving 4 to 5 questions, you might have got the confidence to solve these questions. Okay, so here we have to solve this first question, and we have to name this compound. So guys, you can see 2 carbon are present in this chain. So for 2 carbon we use eth. Okay, and this bromine is working as a functional group. So for bromine we will use prefix bromo. Let me erase it and let me write it a little bit more clear. This will be bromo, and here you can see 2 carbon is present, so it will become ethane, bromoethane. Now let's talk about the second question. Here you can see only 1 carbon is present, so for 1 carbon we use meth, and this is basically aldehyde group. Okay, this is basically this aldehyde group, and for aldehyde we use suffix l, so it will become methane and l, methanol. Okay, I hope guys this point is clear to you. This is methanol. Now let's talk about this last question, and that is, this structure is given to us and we have to name this compound. So first of all we will count the number of carbon: 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 carbon is present, and for 6 carbon we use hex. And here guys, you can see triple bond is present, and because triple bond is present, that's why I will use y and e as a prefix. So this will become hexyne. So I hope guys these points are clear to you, and the questions which we have seen here is completely understood by you. So thank you so much, guys. I'm ending this session here, and we will meet in the upcoming lectures. Till then, thank you so much, and bye bye.